What is happening, you Titan fans? We are back and ready to try to do a full reaction on our take. You got the initial reaction on my take, but you're going to get the full, both of our reaction on the hiring of head coach Brian Callahan. Welcome back. It's time to get a little more deep, a little more in the weeds, in the reeds, whatever.
This ain't starting good.
No, it's not starting good. I never know how to start videos. I'm always awkward. But it's time for a deep dive. And I'm going to give the floor to you to begin with, because again, I gave my 4 or 5 minute initial reaction the day that it actually happened, swiping the offensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals, Brian Callahan, son of the former head coach, Bill Callahan, who is currently the O-line coach of the Cleveland Browns. But your initial thoughts you want to hop into, take it away.
All right. Yeah, so I can't remember if it was you or another brother of mine, but texted me as something, so this is who we got, Callahan. And I remember thinking, I'm okay with this. I wanted Ben Johnson, but I don't think Ben Johnson wanted us, to be honest.
No, we requested, he had about 6 or 7 virtual interviews that people requested, and he did every single one of them except for ours.
Ouch. That's bad. But anyway,
Anyway,
I was like, I don't think that. So I went to the Texans offensive coordinator. That was kind of getting to be my guy who I wanted. I like I like what he did with CJ Stroud, and I knew he was doing that on his own. Like, the head coach wasn't really helping on the offensive side. So, everything the Texans was because of Bobby Slowick. And that didn't work out. But to be honest, if you took Ben Johnson out, which I already did, Mr. Callahan was my second option. So I was okay with it. Was he my number one? No. So on a scale between 1 and 10, I was a 7. I was a solid 7. No doubt about it. He's on the right side of the ball. He's not a defensive guy. I am a firm believer. And yes, there's offensive head coaches that don't work out. And I see a daughter beside you.
Do you see it? I don't think she's in my screen the way I have it all set up. But yeah, we have a little side host over here playing with Legos, it looks like. Okay. Anyways.
Sorry. But yeah, so he's on the right side of the ball, and I'm a firm believer that offense is the way to go. I liked his press conference, his first interview. He answered a lot of stuff in the way I liked. I like that he's in call plays, because let's just say he works out, meaning we don't have to worry about anyone taking all play call away offensively. It has to be stepped defensively, but I like that, don't you? Like, I do. We got a good play call is Arthur Smith, and they took him right away from us. But 2 years, that's the problem. If you have 2 years of a good play call, usually they get taken away. That's just how it is. Unless you're lucky enough to have someone that's done head coaching, wasn't good at it, and he doesn't want to move. If you get lucky in that way, but we don't have those people.
There's a couple questions for you real quick. Did you watch his full introduction?
I watched highlights.
Highlights of it? Okay. Because I watched all of it, and by the highlights you saw, were you bored out of your mind?
He doesn't look exciting. I'll give you that.
No, because like Vrabel, whether it's for good reasons or bad reasons, Vrabel kind of could spice up a press conference. Yeah. But during all of it, I'm like, this is so robotic. And not saying him, but he just talked very calm. Just
couple of things about that. One, it's not the end of it's not everything. No. If you do well or bad at that. But I'll say also, you got to give a guy time to adjust to that, tension of being the guy.
I agree. I mean? Do you remember John Robinson's introduction?
I don't. It probably wasn't good.
So nervous. He literally wouldn't even look up. He was like, his head is down here going, I'm going to make Tennessee Titans the best team, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, going to look up at people like that and look back down. He looked so stupid nervous. And I felt bad because I probably looked the same way if I was being looked at by 30 people, ask questions.
Yeah, so, it's not the end of the be all. And I'm excited. He's on the right side of the ball. I like that he's calling plays. I like that we got because what I think is huge, we got an offensive guy to work with Will Levis. if we got who was the Raiders head coach that we was interested in, Pierce? Or what was his
Antonio
name?
Pierce, yeah.
We got Antonio Pierce. Like, you look at that, like, how is he going to help develop Will Levis? You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, exactly. So we got someone who's had good quarterbacks under, he's worked with good quarterbacks. Hopefully that helps Will Levis. Because my opinion on Will Levis is that he's got tools to be a good quarterback, but he needs help. And I don't mean just receiving stuff. It looks like he needs a coach to take him under his wing, to do a Tua type thing, where he's one way with a defensive head coach and he gets an offense and he just comes alive. I feel like Will Levis needs that to be what you would call a good starting quarterback. And so hopefully we got that. So that was my number one thing, is we got someone to help Will Levis. We got someone on the right side of the ball. And now I'm just waiting to see him and Ron Carthon get on the same page and attack that free agency / draft.
Yeah. Back to something you said and back to the interview. It was unbelievably boring.
It was.
But the one thing that you mentioned that he did say in the interview is that he's taken over play calling. And that was my favorite quote of his whole press conference. Obviously I'm going to butcher it because I didn't write it down or anything. But he basically said, like, they asked him, why do you think it's important that you call the plays? And he's literally said, in his own way, he said, if we have someone else where it's their offense and they're calling the plays, suddenly every single time they leave, we're hitting the reset button, and it's almost like a new system. He says, if it's my system, right? That's literally that's what we've been saying, and it's what he said. He said, if it's my system and I'm calling the plays, then if someone gets poached, like our offensive coordinator gets poached, like I just got poached from the Bengals, he said, then there'll be continuality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say?
And I would say this. Can I say this real quick? That is my least favorite Mike Vrabel. Now, I think Mike Vrabel's a good head coach, and I really do. I think he'll have success somewhere. But he actually didn't call plays on either side of the ball. So you can actually literally be changing schemes on both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? Because, Shane Bowen would never got poached from us. But if he did, I don't
think he ever would have either.
Yeah, exactly. But if he did, you will be losing different schemes on both sides of the ball. At least I saw that. Yeah. Chiefs back to the Super Bowl.
He's back to the Super Bowl.
That's getting
10 points is all the Ravens can put up. Sorry, it just happened. Because by the time y'all say this game would have been history.
Yeah,
it just happened. Yeah, it was. But anyway. I agree. That was the best part of the whole press conference, and something I like to hear. Now, who knows? In the end, it might not work out. And he might not be a good play caller. He might not be a good head coach. But the philosophy is what we needed. Mm-hmm. And there's a big pat on the back to Rand Carthon, a big pat on the back to Amy Adams Strunk, where I said there's only two people I was over. Like I wanted over Vrabel, was Slowick and Ben Johnson. One was on par. Everyone else was under. So at first, the fact that we hired an on par with Vrabel, as opposed to the two people, I'll be honest, when I first saw the news, I'm just like, kind of like Peter Skronsky, where I'm like, it just makes sense. But the more I've stopped and thought about it, out of the, I think it got up to 11 people that we interviewed, and the more I stopped and thought and it marinated in my mind, I was like, there are so many people we could have gotten that I would have been mad about. Yeah. Can you imagine Dan Quinn? Just get retread old Dan Quinn.
Nothing about that would excite me. Nothing at all.
Unproven defensive-minded Antonio Pierce. Mike Kafka. Just keep him away from me. And I was just like, I don't like, Aaron Glenn. He was the number one guy. People were like, keep an eye on him. Strong possibility. Aaron Glenn's going to go to the Titans.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I didn't want that either.
Old defensive coach getting his first shot at head coach,
who is not controlling a good defense,
who's coordinating a horrendous defense. I'm like, not horrendous, but bad. But I'm like, why would I want this?
Yeah, it was a dumb idea, all those options. And actually, I will say this: I was shocked that we got that right, and that shows you can't always go by. And you tell me this all the time, because I send you notifications or articles and stuff like that all the time of Titans are interested in this, Titans are interested in that, and you're always like, I don't think that's true, and I'm always getting annoyed with you. I'm like, you don't think anything's true, but in this situation you are correct, because in everything I was reading and everything I was hearing, it looked like we was trying to get another leader of men, defensive, tough-nosed guy. That looked like what we was interested in. And clearly, either one, they changed their mind, or two, none of those reports was correct, because we went with more of a scheme guy more than a Mike Vrabel type of guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're just trying to go opposites, because you got big, bad, mean, tough, leader of men. That they love that term, leader of men. big old roar, rah, rah guy. Everyone's like, that's my coach. He was a former player. Let's play for that guy. And that's kind of, and defensive minded. That's kind of what we went with. So we went from that to an offensive guy who's very laid back. Mm-hmm. He even said in the interview that he didn't say robotic. It's not the word he said, but he said, I'm pretty even keel personality wise. He's like, I'll get on somebody when I need to. He's like, but I'm pretty straight line most of the time. So it's almost like they're like, all right, so we saw what the rah-rah Vrabel guy did. Now let's go the other way and see what the even keeled, laid back type feller is gonna do. Yeah. Which I'm gonna say it one more time for those in the back. I was against firing Vrabel this year because if you think the reason, like J-Rob got fired during the 2020 season or 2022 season, I mean, so that means you think he didn't build a good enough roster. The next year, we had to cut all of our high dollar players and just try to survive. So to me, it still sounds like you can, in a way, say John Robinson ended up getting Vrabel fired.
Yeah.
Because like you can say there's the quote unquote power struggle and all the things that they say, but there's no way you're telling me if Titans went 11-6 and won a playoff game and lost that he'd be fired. He'd still be that coach. So in the end, you could say J-Rob kind of got Vrabel fired in a lot of ways. But so I was against. I'm still kind of like, should we have
been one season too early?
One season too early. I think with one season of cap space, I would have liked to see what he could have done with 75-ish million. It's gonna be more because I'm sure Dillard's getting the axe and some other people. I hope. But he's gone. That part's over with. We got an offensive guy who's going to have his offense calling his own offense. So I'm being optimistic and excited about what maybe it could be.
I would say I have to look into this a little bit more. I don't know exactly what his scheming will look like, formations and stuff like that. But I'm hoping we move from the Derrick Henry type, the 3 yards of cloud of dust. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done with that. And I'm afraid that as long as we had Mike Vrabel, that would be the mentality. That would be the offense that he would control. Because I think I sent you this, but there was rumors those things out there that Mike Vrabel told. Actually, I'll get my stories.
I was about to say, because you were about to say a Brian Belichick story that he said, this ain't college.
I did.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but same mindset.
I read too many stories.
As I read too many stories. But yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel like I was just listening, seeing how this one's going to end up, but because I wasn't sure exactly where it was going. But yeah.
Okay. Right. We get the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was cut it, delete it, get it out. I do feel like Vrabel wanted to get a little lead and just run.
Yeah.
Because that's all we did with Tim Kelly the few times we did get leads. And I think we gave up like something like 6 halftime leads. Like 6 of our losses, we were ahead at halftime, which is not good. That was we did with Tim Kelly this year. We did Todd Downing the last 2 years. The only year that we just ran up that scoreboard was with Arthur Smith. But remember, that's when our defense was awful. So did we actually run up the scoreboard, or did we just have to keep scoring to stay in the game?
That was so frustrating. We've always had a better defense than offense, but then our best statistically offensive year for the in Titans history, our defense was garbage. Couldn't stop a nose freaking bleed. Nope. Couldn't stop anything. Yeah, that was frustrating. But anyway, that's of the past. We got a new head coach, a new leader.
We're talking about Arthur Smith, who just interviewed to be the Steelers offensive coordinator.
Oh, he was a good OC.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that. But I'll say this. I am excited, because I'm like, if we bring in a defensive guy, to be honest, or like the Giants OC, I wouldn't be excited for this next year. Yes, we would have cap space, but I wouldn't be excited. Nope. But I'm looking forward to this. Ron Carthon, you actually have money, because you'd be quick to say, and rightfully so, he didn't have much to work with last year. This year,
-$30 million.
He can't use that as an excuse this year.
No.
Go. So you two get together, get your schemes together, get what you're looking for, and I'm maybe being over optimistic here, but I'm excited to see what this offseason looks like.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, and this me put my expectations way too high or being too
like when you said he was 11-6 this year.
Yeah, like that. I did get the 6 loses correct. We just had more than 6. Actually, wait, I was opposite. I meant to switch that. I meant to say 6 and 11, not 11.
I said 8 and 9. I said 8 and 9. Like, am I being too mean with that? No. We got 6 wins.
On the plus side, so many people that I know, like reporters and national media and all those, everybody was saying like 9 and 8 was like about the worst I'd ever see. It'd be like a 9 and 8, 10 and 7. So it wasn't just us that just was kind of missing that. Obviously, I missed it more than anybody. But anyways, also who on earth could have projected our offensive line would be the worst offensive line I've ever seen in both pass protection and run blocking, and Ryan Tannehill would just fall off a cliff.
Yeah, worse than last
awful.
year. Because no, last year was horrible. So like, actually, I remember you saying that, Gable. When I was saying I don't know if I trust this offensive line, I remember you telling me it can't be worse than it was last year.
Who'd have thunked it could?
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Maybe this next year. Can we top it to be even worse?
Maybe. Who knows what kind of just fools we'll bring in.
But can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
This is a different conversation, but I do know the Bengals have a tackle that's going to be a free agent. That's pretty. You don't like him. I remember hearing you say you don't like him, but
I think he's been giving up a lot of sacks lately.
Well, I did hear that he's better, and you have a son. I did hear that he was moved on a different side, and he was clearly better on the
Jonah Williams. Is that who it is? Jonah Williams?
Yeah, probably. I can't remember what side it is, but this season he played on one side that he doesn't normally, and he struggled a lot more. And I remember because the article I was reading said that the side that he plays best on would be the opposite side of this guy that we should be drafting in the first round. Some tackle,
like I think Joe Alt or Ola Fashanu.
Yeah. So he's like, you could get both these tackles.
Yeah, looks like he was just a first round pick. First round pick, 11th overall, so literally the exact same spot as Peter Skoronski. He's offensive tackle. He played all of his years now with the Bengals since 2019. Wait, really?
What?
Am I thinking about the right person? Jonah Williams has only ever been with the Bengals. Why did I think? I think I'm thinking of Orlando Brown. But anyways, let me see if I can get any information real quick. Yeah, it says right here, following Bengals signing left tackle Orlando Brown, Williams requested a trade in March 2023. Williams chose to remain with the team, instead switching from left tackle to right tackle. Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Why?
From left to right? Because if he is better at left tackle, then I'm pretty sure Ola Fashanu and Joe Alt are both right tackles. I don't know. We'll see.
I could have sworn that's what that article said.
Yeah, I mean, he did switch, but apparently he switched from right
to left.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I will say it was funny. As soon as we signed Brian Callahan, T. Higgins, I screenshot because I knew I'd be reading it. T. Higgins said, "Nashville, I will be there with that and 100, which means 100%, you know." And then
that would be huge.
It would be, but Jamar Chase commented and said, "Delete this, bro."
That's funny. Actually, I saw Joe Burrow saying that the first thing they have to do is bring T. Higgins back. So I don't think they want to depart from him. But
obviously, Joe Burrow doesn't want to.
Yeah, if we could get our hands on T. Higgins, that would be nice. Yeah, Hopkins, him, and I don't know about you, but I want a third option. And I don't mean Traylon Burks. I don't even mean Traylon Burks. Forget him.
Or Kyle Phillips.
No, Kyle Phillips, no. When I say third option, I mean like a second round receiver. Or there's another receiver out there.
Because we don't have a third round pick, so I wouldn't. I'd like this. Let me put it this way: if we could get, I like the way we're supposed to be talking about Brian Callahan right now, but we always do this. We do this ever since we got mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I would love it if we did get a high price, whether it's Jonah Williams or somebody else, a high priced right tackle, Ola Fashanu or Joe Alt left tackle, bring in T. Higgins. And in the second round, get a wide receiver. So we got DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, and a second round wide receiver. And then we have our first round Peter Skoronski in his second year, our first round left tackle, and then a new high dollar right tackle offensively.
And Brunskill's decent.
We're cooking. Brunskill's fine. I'll say keep Brunskill
and
around.
I'm still thinking, wait, now we got and then we have an offensive minded guy to use those pieces. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To use them correctly. I'd be liking what I see. I would definitely say there's a path here to make this offense a lot better. I mean, like a lot better than with last year. There's a pathway though if we don't screw this up, Carlton. And to turn this back to our original conversation, that's something I'm excited about with Callahan is because I think we're going to focus more offensively. I think Mike Vrabel, you might, granted he isn't the GM, but you would be tempted more to focus on defense. But let's get receivers, let's get offensive lines, let's get what we need, let's get the skill players. You know what I mean? I think we're going to put more focus on that. At least I hope.
Yeah, I agree. And something I like, I feel like these poor people were born in the wrong era. John Robinson and Mike Vrabel, if those were our head coach and GM at like 2002, I think they'd be a good team. But if you remember correctly, John Robinson infamously, however you want to say the word, said, someone asked about him getting an analytics department, and he said, I am the analytic department.
Mm-hmm.
There was that, and then there's Vrabel, who we've been saying how he loves winning those 13-10 games.
Yes, he does.
So with that, I just feel like that's just such old school football. Now that we have an offensive minded head coach who scored 30 plus points with Jake Browning a gazillion times.
Yeah, you real quick to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. But I saw it. Browning played 7 games. He scored 30 points or more, 4 of those 7s, and one of the ones that they didn't, he scored 28. Think about it, we couldn't score 28 points with our starters.
I think we scored 28 points on the dot twice last year, and that was it.
And then they scored 30 plus and 28 5 out of 7 times with Jake Browning. I didn't know who he was before the deal. Did you?
I remembered him getting drafted, but I knew that he was.
Really so anyway, so I'm like, Will Levis, I think, was better than Jake Browning, right? So you would think he would be able to. And that's with T. Higgins / Jamar Chase getting injured and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say T. Higgins missed a lot of time, and so did Jamar Chase. Trust me, I had Jamar Chase on fantasy football. Trust me, he missed time.
And so you could say, well, Jake Browning had better receivers, but yeah, they was in and out with injuries. So So anyway, back to our point. I think Callahan hopefully can work some magic here and make this work. Again, I think he has a quarterback that's better than not better than Joe Burrow, obviously, but he's better than Jake Browning. Jeez, I don't know why I forgot the name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So again, back to what I was saying before I got interrupted by somebody. It's okay. I'm just saying that's what J. Rob said. Like, I am the analytics department, but then Chad Brinker comes in with Rand Carthon, and he's the analytics guy. He apparently has his own little system that other teams are not allowed to use that he brings with him, that he's able to basically grade, rate, and measure players. That he apparently created that system himself, so he's supposed to be just a genius. So the fact that he hasn't gotten a GM look yet, I'm a little confused about that, but whatever. Yeah. But anyway, so we got him, that made us more modern. We got Brian Callahan, which we would assume would make us a lot more modern type of a team than Vrabes. So again, the initial reaction I had was just like, but the more I stop, the more I sit and think on it, the more it's marinated. I'm just like, okay, at least at this moment, I choose excitement.
I agree. Sorry. Really got distracted.
See, I saw you on your phone, and then my phone lit up, so I thought you were sending me a message, like something I need to know about, like you got a booger hanging from your nose or something. So I was like, I gotta check this real quick. But it wasn't you.
I just saw a thing that says it's like, man, all Americans should have been rooting for the Ravens because now the next 2 weeks will be nothing but Taylor Swift. I'm like,
that's true.
Good point.
That's true.
That's gonna get old real fast. Because I'm tired of that. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
It is. So what kind of a letter grade would you give? Give me your initial letter grade and your letter grade as of right now.
I was, like I said, when I first heard about it, I was a 7. I'm feeling, I think
that's a letter.
Oh, sorry, I was just grading it.
That's fine. That's a letter grade.
Let's do letter grade.
Okay, like a letter grade 7.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Anyway. Good.
Deep analysis we give you here.
Yeah. Letter grade. Let's
from
give it
A to F. I'm gonna give it about a 7.
I'm gonna give it a B.
Is that your initial reaction, or what? Now that's marinated.
B- initial reaction. I liked it a lot. More I think about stuff we discussed. I'm like, okay, wait a second. He did good with Jake Browning. Will Levis is better than that, so hopefully he can help Jake Lock, or hopefully he can help Will Levis. I'm like, I think we have a pathway to get a better offensive line, a lot better, some receivers here, and then he's an offensive guy that can really help, call plays with these guys. And more I think about it, more I'm gonna bounce myself to B+. And you might say, well, why not A? I just think with a guy that's never done it before, he's a question mark. I just think it's a little hard to say, yeah, A+ or something like that. With a guy, we got to see what he's got. With a guy also who wasn't technically the offensive mind
behind the Bengals. Yeah, I see what you're trying to say.
So I think paying A+ is a little ambitious. But I think B+ B+ is good.
Sadly, I literally have the exact same. That's boring when we agree, but literally, that's exactly what I was like. I'm like B-. I'm gonna say B-. All the defensive head coaches were gonna be an F, in my opinion. Minus McDonald would be like a C+.
I think he might be decent, but yeah.
He might be decent, but yeah.
I'm done with that side of the ball. So
the defensive coach guy, I was like, and I would give an A to Ben and Bobby, which at this point, they might not even get head coaching gigs. There's not that they're like the openings are closing pretty quickly.
I don't think either teams would mind that.
Yeah, the Lions and the Texans, but so I was a B-. I'm just like, he's offensive side, he's option number 3. I guess we'll see. And then as I've marinated, I love that word today. As I've marinated and thought about it, B+ is what I improved it to.
Okay.
You can't give somebody who's never called an NFL play an A, so that's why I'm sitting at B+.
Yes, exactly. So we thought the same on that one. Good one. Mm-hmm. But real quick, I did hear that Ben Johnson is basically all but done, but going to Washington.
That's what I've heard, which they might have something cooking over there, because something Peters, I can't remember what his first name was, but the GM they got from the 49ers, he's a very respected, very sought after person. We actually requested to interview him last year for our GM opening, and he said no.
Oh, nice.
So that was kind of him. So everybody hates us. Anyways, so he said no. I can't. His name's gonna bug me. I'm supposed to know it. But anyways, so they were able to nab him. They got their trash owner out. They got a new owner, and then now they could have Ben Johnson. Of course, in the end, if you stop and think about it, we're talking about. I mean, Brian Callahan. He's not a Ben Johnson or a Bobby Slowick, but you stop and think. Technically, like I've heard plenty of criticism and doubt about them too.
Well, here's the thing: if you've never been a head coach, it's all a guessing game right now.
It is.
It all is. So
yeah, I've heard people say Bobby Slowick's not really ready yet. That's what I've heard because he's only had 1 year as a coordinator.
That is
much less head coach.
I'm not gonna lie about that.
And then Ben Johnson, he might call might be Arthur Smith 2.0. He might call a heck of a game, but it's when you give him control of everything, and that means like when you're flying, he's got flight plans. He's got to make practice schedule. Like there's so much more than just game day stuff. Well, then there could be like people time management, clock management.
Yeah. You don't worry about that stuff as coordinators.
No, you don't. And there's some coach, I can't remember who it was, but they used to be so stupid bad at clock management. I should know who it is, but I don't remember who it is right now. I don't know. But anyways, the last thing I'm going to say before we go and wrap up this video, because we're already a half hour long, is, and this is, and I started to say this earlier. This is what you actually interrupted me in saying that I got distracted. It just came back to me. So they're going to say this is going to take time. Rebuilds take time. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't feel like this needs to take time. I need to see instant success. And I'm not talking about 12 and 5. And I'll tell you why. People like to use the excuse of, we have a rookie quarterback. Because so many teams in a rebuild have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
We don't have a rookie quarterback. We have year 2. From year 1 to year 2 is supposed to be your biggest jump as a quarterback. From year 1 to year 2. That's where Will Levis is at. We have tons of cap space. Because like usually teams that are in the rebuild, going into the rebuild, they have the season we had last year, where before the offseason, they cut all the big name people, expensive people, so they have cap room for next year. But we already did that. We already cut all the big people / didn't re-sign them, like Tannehill and Henry and whatnot. So we already have the cap money this year. So technically, you could say last year was the start of our rebuild, whether we wanted to do that or not. Last year was step 1 of the rebuild. So with all the money we have, Will Levis being year 2, Brian Callahan being the offensive-minded guy he is, to me, there's no reason why, if we play our cards right and hit on some of these free agency peeps as well as hits on some draft picks, there's no reason to me why we can't immediately be at least in the running for the AFC South.
I would say at least
that nobody ran away with.
I would say 8, 9, 9, and 8, or 10 and 7 is what I'm looking for. If we hit any of those 3, even 8, 9 sounds a little, But I see 9, 8, 10, and 7. That's what I'm aiming for. Anything less than that. Well, I'm gonna say 7 wins or less is a failure of a season, if you ask me.
I agree.
We have to see what we do in the draft free agency.
We do. But we have all these draft picks, high draft picks. We have 75-ish plus probably million in cap space. Are you trying to tell me all that, and we got a supposed upgrade at head coach? Are you trying to tell me all that's only going to translate to one more win than we had last year?
Yeah, I agree.
To me, that means we failed somewhere.
Yeah, listen, if we do worse than 9 and 8, or again maybe 8, 9, but if we do worse than that, like 7 wins or less, that means either 3 things: Carthon with this offseason, which means that's not looking good for him.
That's not good. No.
Our head coach doesn't look great, or Will Levis is not the guy.
And all 3 of those are bad.
Yeah, one of those threes would be. There's no way for us to win 7 games or less next year without one of those three being true. You know what I mean? You can't say, "Well, this is great. Our head coach is great. Carl Thon did great this offseason." You can't say those 3 things and us win 7 games or less.
I agree. You know I agree. We're on the same page. But yeah, let's, as Titan fans, let's choose excitement. Let's choose excitement. Look at, because I feel like every single year under John Robinson, we would come into the offseason being like, how are we supposed to make additions when we have $4 million in cap space? Or last year, negative $30 million. For the first time in forever, high draft picks, as well as lots of money. So as Titan fans, let's choose to be excited. I was going to say exciting. I guess let's be exciting people. Let's choose to be excited. Fingers crossed we can hit on some of these. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think I'm good.
I think we're good. All right. So that being so, we are signing out, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace.